Today we're talking about accountability, more specifically how to hold yourself accountable. Day 5, positive success habits training, same you, new mood, accountability. I'm really excited to jump into this one. What does accountable mean to you? Because to me, accountable or accountability means to be held responsible, to be answerable to something, to make sure that you're showing up and you're being held accountable. A few examples, as we were growing up, oftentimes we had parents and teachers and even sports. So with teachers, they held us accountable by giving us a grade. We would have to go to class, learn the material, and then take a test. And that's how we were graded if we knew what the material was. Now, we could skew and say that maybe the way grading and the way teaching is implemented isn't effective for everybody, but that's okay. We're not going to dive into that today. But what we are saying is that those grades held us accountable. Maybe we're also talking about PE, because as we get older, how often are we actually working out in a consistent regimen? When we're in school, our teachers, our PE coaches hold us accountable to that. We get tested on the state level and we have to make sure that we are meeting state requirements. So how many sit-ups and push-ups can you do? Can you run a mile in X amount of time? Those are state requirements, and they're holding the teachers accountable to make sure that we're being held accountable to be active. And then teachers also could implement discipline, which oftentimes discipline with teachers is maybe you're getting sent into the detention. Sorry, I never had detention, so I forgot what it was called. So maybe you were being sent to detention, and that makes discipline. But I kind of feel like discipline, it got a bad rep, and so we'll dive into discipline in a little bit here. Then we also had our parents who would hold us accountable. Parents were there to teach us the correct morals and how to live a good life, if you will. I mean, everybody has different parenting styles, and that makes everybody unique. And then also we'll talk about sports in the sense that if you did a team sport, like for me, I did soccer. So doing a team sport, my teammates expected me to be there. If I didn't show up, then they were a person down. And that made it more difficult for that team to get goals. And at the end of the day, playing a sport, the goal is to win the game. If you're not showing up and holding yourself accountable to your team, then how can you expect progress? Another thing with sports is I also did gymnastics, and that while that is an individual sport, I learned a lot about self-discipline, and not in a bad way. I did a lot of visualization. I learned how to keep growing and learning new skills, because as you got better at one skill, you could get better at the next skill, and it kept evolving. So it was actually really a great sport, in my opinion, to help me grow and learn who I am. As we're growing up, we're learning from our teachers, we're learning from our parents, and we're learning through sports, and those things are holding us accountable. But once we hit between 18 and 21, we typically move out of our parents' house if we're fortunate enough to be able to do that. And we're looking for freedom. We're ready to fly. We're going to do whatever we want to do, because nobody is longer telling us that there's rules. We make our own rules. You're probably not in school anymore. And if you are, then you're in university. And again, you're probably out of your parents' house and you're enjoying your life on your own. You're probably not doing sports anymore, because oftentimes those are involved with school. And so adult sports are a little bit different, which I've also done. But at the end of the day, you're looking for your freedom. You're now in charge of how you get to control your life. Nobody is really telling you anymore. And even if you are still living at home, oftentimes you still get more freedoms because now you're an adult. How can you not lose your way? And how can you hold yourself accountable when you are trying to find your freedoms? You have to understand your core values. You have to understand your core purpose. It can be difficult. It's difficult to find those things. However, if you have this mantra of, I do not break promises to myself, and you know what your core values are, you know what your passion and your mission are in life, then you have a little bit easier guide as you're growing in your process, because nobody knows the right next step. However, we're all trying to learn and grow, and we're all trying to be better than we were yesterday. And the number one person who can make that happen is you. And that's you by holding yourself accountable. If you struggle, which most people do, if you struggle to hold yourself accountable such that you say you want to wake up early, but you don't. You say you're going to go to the gym, but you don't. You're not the exception to the rule. Most people struggle to hold themselves accountable. It's oftentimes recommended that you find a coach or a mentor, somebody to help train you and teach you, and somebody who can compress years of knowledge into moments for you. Because a coach and a mentor, they already have gone through the steps to figure this out, and now they want to help teach you. That's what a good coach and mentor will do. What you're not looking for in a coach or a mentor is somebody who's just a cheerleader. Now, trust me, having a cheerleader is fun, it's exciting, and you might enjoy it, but you're not going to get actionable steps out of it. You need somebody who's going to help you grow, somebody who's going to push you to your limits because they can see your untapped potential when they know that you have more. But for you, you have a limiting belief from your past story saying, I don't think that I am good enough to be able to go to the gym every day, or I don't think that I'm good enough to wake up early, or whatever that might be. Maybe you're thinking that I'm not good enough. I'm not a good reader. I don't know how to do these things. Well, if you're not a good reader, you can join a book club because those people are going to hold you accountable, and you can start small. If you're struggling to make it into the gym, find somebody who will do that with you. If you don't want to go to the gym, find somebody who will run with you or work out with you at home. And I know for me today, I didn't really want to go for a run. I didn't really want to do a core workout, but I got to work out with my best friend, and we worked out at her house and we ran around town. My friend held me accountable. It was so much fun to engage and interact while we were doing some sort of physical activity. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say here is find somebody who will push you, who will make you grow more, and who will hold you accountable. So like I said, I think that discipline has gotten a bad rap. And what I mean by that is when you're in school or when you're young and you get a spanking or you get grounded or you don't do something right and then you get disciplined, because that's oftentimes how we hear the word. But what if we think of discipline as self-love? What if we think of discipline as something that can help us be better, be more accountable to ourselves? Because if we're showing ourselves self-love, that means that we're getting enough hours of sleep every night. We're not staying out until 2 a.m. on work nights. That means that we're drinking enough water. Drinking the water is definitely a positive thing for you. We know that we should be drinking water, but if we don't have the discipline to drink the water, then you're not going to do it. Maybe self-love means that instead of eating pizza on a Friday night, you eat the fruits and vegetables and your chicken and rice. We need to show ourselves self-love, but it's hard to sustain. It's hard to hold ourselves accountable. And that's why you definitely should look into having somebody who wants to partner with you, whether that be a family member, a friend, a coach, a mentor, a coworker, your pets, a journal, anything that you can find that will hold you accountable. It's important to have that. When you're looking for somebody to hold you accountable, maybe you can just start implementing that yourself. If you want somebody to work out with you, why don't you start talking to people and see who sparks an interest? There have been a few times that my friends and I have come together and we've worked out. I wanted to start a book club. My friends joined me in a book club so that way we could read a book together, because all of us said, we're too busy, we don't have time. And at the end of the day, none of us probably would have read the book, but we all got to read it together, and we came through and we experienced the book together, and it was fun and enjoyable. And not only were we reading and growing our mind, but we were engaging with our friend group, and it was so much fun making those memories. So a great place to start is look at your last 5 text messages. See who you're communicating with most. Those people should be nourishing you. Those people should be inspiring you and lifting you up. If they're putting you down, then maybe that's something that you need to look at. Maybe that's something that you need to focus on to find people who are valuing you, because your time is the most important thing you have. We all have the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day. But if you're not nourishing yourself with your friends and family and coworkers, and you're not providing yourself that happiness and that joy in your life, then what's the point? Oftentimes with social media, well, first of all, we spend a lot of time on social media. Studies show that Americans spend on average 144 minutes a day. So that's a lot of time. That's over 2 hours just looking at our phone and scrolling. And that's not to mention, are we watching Netflix every night? Are we really using our time in the most valuable way? Don't compare yourselves to those people. When you're looking at your social media for so long, do not think that that is the way you should be living life, because ultimately you're seeing a tiny moment in somebody's day. And if you're comparing yourself to that, you're just comparing yourself to other people's opinions, and you're not showing up for yourself in the best way possible. I would say listen to that, learn from that, and grow from that. But don't take that as the end all be all. And that's the same thing with your friends and family and your coworkers and whoever you want to listen to. If they're talking to you and they're trying to tell you what's positive and what's good, or maybe what's bad, I mean, it depends on who you're surrounding yourself with. But if you're surrounding yourself, you are like the 5 most people you surround yourself with. Why not listen and learn and grow from them? But understand that they have different life experiences. They don't understand everything that you're working on. So while you should show up and you should ask them to hold you accountable, maybe you need to figure out who the right people are to hold you accountable in what aspect of your life. Because growing is scary. Change is scary. But if you implement it in a positive way, it can be so impactful in your life. It can be so good for you. It's going to take time. It's going to take hard work. Holding yourself accountable is hard. Also, trying to explain what you're doing to other people and why you want their accountability, that's difficult, because maybe they're going to show up in a way that you're not expecting. So you have to take what they say and then implement that in the best way for you. I like to think of this example in holding myself accountable first before anybody else thinks about it. So oftentimes you'll hear that it takes 4 weeks to see any change when you start going to the gym. Who's going to see that change first? It's you. So you can go to the gym very consistently, but until 28 days, maybe 30 days later, you're probably not going to see much of a change. And that's when it's hardest. That's when it's so discouraging, because you walk into the gym on day 1 and you say, I'm here, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to drink all the water, I'm going to eat the healthy food. But when you don't see change immediately, oftentimes people give up. Keep growing. Don't stop. Keep pushing yourself and holding yourself accountable. And then at week 8, oftentimes friends and family will start to notice the changes. So that's 2 months, 60 days of hard work. That's 60 days of showing up before anybody even acknowledges the hard work that you've put in. But you've held yourself accountable for so long at this point. Then at 12 weeks, that's when other people that your acquaintances with will start noticing the changes in your life. They'll start to realize that you are showing yourself self-love, self-discipline. You're holding yourself accountable. Then that's when they'll start asking you how you did it, why you did it, what steps were you taking? And it's so impactful and so powerful to say, I did it because I wanted to. I did it because I showed up for myself today and every day since they noticed to be the best version of myself. Take massive action, write down your accomplishments, celebrate your wins. You have to make the choice to improve daily. What gets measured gets managed. Holding yourself accountable is hard, but there are tools that can help get you there. Fill out your habit tracker. Realize that when you have some downtime, instead of sitting on the couch and watching Netflix, get up and move your body. Get up and drink the water. Hold yourself accountable to the goals that you set, because once you start achieving goals, it's so contagious. You just want to keep going. And know that you don't have to be perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody comes across roadblocks, and you're probably going to fail. But the best part about failing is that you can learn from it and you can grow from that opportunity. And when you do fail, do not beat yourself up. I used to be really bad about this, but I've gotten better. I celebrate my wins and I don't let a failure or a bad mood control the rest of my day. For example, if I got told news that I didn't want to hear, I would let it ruin my day. If I was in a bad mood, everybody would know it. And this has been a problem since I was very little. But if I'm in a bad mood, it's not fun. Am I going to let that bad mood, that one moment, maybe even that one sentence that somebody said to me, ruin my whole day? Am I going to let somebody have that power over me? Or am I going to show up and grow from that opportunity and learn that they don't have control over my life? I do. I have to live with my core values and my mission, my purpose, and by holding myself accountable to move forward is how I'm going to grow. And that person, I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn, but I'm not going to give them the power to dictate the rest of my mood for that day or week, because why? Why would I allow that? Why would I let somebody else dictate my life? I encourage you, again, to fill out your habit tracker, to start journaling and writing down your 3 goals and 3 dreams and your 3 positives. Because if you write these down, it'll become a reality. You'll start to see massive change in your life once you start implementing positive success habits. If you're not writing it down, it's probably not going to come to fruition. We're going too quick. There's so many things coming at us all day long that there's no way that you're going to remember what you wanted to achieve. Take it day by day. Know that it's okay if you don't achieve all your goals every day. But what you should do, make small sacrifices, just a little bit. Instead of spending 2 hours on social media today, get out and move your body. Instead of drinking the Coke or the Pepsi or whatever your choice of non-water liquids are, drink another glass of water. Watch your life transform as you implement small changes. Small habits are the best way to move forward. When you are learning how to implement habits and learning how to grow, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take effort. But as long as you're trying and you're holding yourself to a standard that you weren't before, and you're always trying to improve, you're going to grow. We're talking about accountability. Fill out your habit tracker, because as you can notice, now we've been 5 days in that you are either marking off the little boxes and you're really happy about it, or maybe you haven't been able to do it, and that's okay. The fact that you're even thinking about filling out your habit tracker is so impactful. It's so powerful. And that mind shift, it doesn't have to happen overnight, but if you keep thinking about it, it will improve. And eventually you'll notice that you are doing it, and you'll surprise yourself. And then once you celebrate that, you're going to want to keep doing it, because you will enjoy those celebratory moments when you drink all the water or you moved your body for 30 minutes when your intention is to do so. So I'm going to encourage you to review your core values this weekend and review your core purpose. Hopefully you wrote it down. If you didn't, just write it down this weekend. Make that a goal. I want to encourage you to find an accountability partner. Just one. If you find more, great. It doesn't even have to be a person if you're afraid to talk about that. If you're afraid to pull somebody into your life, maybe it's your dog. Maybe that dog will take you out on a walk every day, or you're taking the dog on a walk. Maybe it's a journal. Maybe you just need to start writing because you don't want to invite anybody in because it's scary. It's scary to tell somebody your goals and dreams, but it is impactful to have somebody who cares about you follow up and ask you how you're doing. And I'm your number one fan. I want to see you achieve your goals and dreams. If you would like me as an accountability partner, I'm right here. I would love to be a part of your life. Please just reach out to me. And number 3, this is a fun one. Just celebrate your weekend. And when you do something fun, write it down. Show your brain that you did something fun. Show your mind and your eyes that you did something fun. Preferably in a journal so you can look back at it later. But if you can't do that, grab a Post-it note. I love Post-it notes, and we're going to do a Post-it note challenge next week. But Just writing it down and seeing that little reminder is so impactful. I encourage you I encourage you to hold yourself accountable. Find somebody who will hold you accountable. Enjoy every moment because our lives are so short. We need to make every moment matter. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Happy Friday, and I will see y'all on Monday. Bye.